see from him in the NBA?
Well, you mentioned it. He's an NBA-ready defender, leading the G League Ignite in assists and steals, as you mentioned. He can handle it. He rebounds at a high rate, at 17 rebounds in a G League game earlier this season. But he can guard multiple spots. And his matchup, he held his matchup to 37% from the field. He's a good handler, and he's a very good passer. He's got good vision, a solid finisher. He reminds me a little bit with his size and his length. He's got a 6'11" wingspan. He reminds me a little bit of Matisse Thybulle when he came out of Washington. But he's actually a little bit bigger than Thybulle. He's not focused on offense because he's such a good team player, but I think he's a good offensive player. He's just not a guy that is wired to score and looking to score all the time. But his defensive chops, he's ready to defend in the NBA right now.
I want to see the defensive standoff between him and Jose Alvarado in the gym. I want to see that go down big part.
And actually, in Herb Jones. And again, look, they're loading up at the wing position. And with like all the offensive firepower that the Pelicans have, this is a pick that they actually needed just to continue to add depth, right? You don't know if a guy's going to get in foul trouble come postseason time, because they will be in the postseason. But you want to groom them and slowly bring them along. But you got the vets in front of them that you don't have to rush the process.
Absolutely. Hey, you got to trust the process. Don't rush the process. But I mentioned that this is sort of a different path that we're seeing more and more guys take, going through the G League in order to get to the NBA now. So in the last 2 years, we've seen a couple of top 10 guys be drafted through the G League Ignite. Your guy, Jalen Green, NBA champion, put some respect on his name, Jonathan Kuminga, and then now Dyson Daniels, Jay.
Well, the G League Ignite is a little bit different than the G League overall. These young prospects now have different choices to make. And the idea that you can't develop in the G League has always been wrong, because all you're doing is basketball, and you're doing it on an NBA level with NBA coaching. I still think college is the best way to go, but with Overtime Elite, the G League Ignite, there are other options for development, and it's proven that it works. I mean, we're seeing guys getting drafted. We'll see how they do in the NBA. You mentioned Jonathan Kuminga and Jalen Green. Those guys have done very well very early, but we're going to see how this goes. It just gives players another solid option to develop as an NBA player.
Well, Jonathan Kuminga in particular, it was in part the system that he was put into that allowed him to succeed at this level. I know you're a big fan of Jalen Green. What have you seen as the difference, perhaps the secret sauce for your wings, if you will, that the G League Ignite or the G League provides?
Well, I think, you're going against grown men, right? So when you're in the G League and you're playing against other professionals, you're going against guys that's actually fighting to get 10-day contracts into the league. So it's a different experience. And then also I love how the transition of the coaches, right? You have more NBA coaches that's down there working with these guys, putting them in NBA sets, getting them NBA ready, working on their body, keeping them around that NBA atmosphere. I always tell people, there's nothing that will get you ready like being in the NBA or being somewhat around the NBA. Well, that's the only thing they can.
Which is a great point. But the G League, I think the outsiders used to be seen as an insult, and it's not. It's an option.
Great.
And the development option there is a good one. It's not the only option.
Right.
College is a great one, especially now with NIL opportunities, and Overtime Elite is a good one. But we're seeing the G League starting to, you're having players catapult out of that right into the top of the draft.
Well, and development used to literally be in the name, in the title of the league. It's what it does. It's what we want to kind of continue to see those guys. Kirk, you actually played in the G League.
I did. And the other opportunity is that you're able, NBA scouts are able to watch guys in the G League a little bit more, right? They're able to be around and go to games a little bit more when they're playing the opponents. Those guys are able to come to the games and watch the other players, and I think that's a great thing too for a lot of guys that's going to the G League out of high school.
Well, we're going to maybe see a couple more guys, especially over the next couple of years, take that path through the G League to the NBA. While we've been chatting, the San Antonio Spurs, they have been on the clock. DeJounte Murray, he's had an incredible year. I mean, 21.1 points, 8.3 rebounds, 9.2 assists. By the way, all of those, Kendrick Perkins, are career highs. He led the NBA. I didn't know this. He led the NBA with 138 steals, first career All-Star all-star selection. I mean, just an incredible season for him. What do you want to see the type of player he needs to be paired with in order to bring him to the next level?
You know what? I'm going to stay with the big, right?
Big Perk's going to stay with the big. Shocking.
Because here's why. When you look at when you have a point guard like Murray that's willing to not only create for himself but create for others, you need a dynamic roller. You need a lob threat at the basket. You need a guy that's going to have your back and be able to anchor the pick and roll. You need a guy that when you get beat off the dribble, he's going to be there to protect the rim and have your back at the rim.
Big Perk repping for the big man. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks this is funny. Perk, what's your middle name?
Liddell.
His middle name is essentially Little. Big Little Perkins. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't think Little is in play here.
I don't think it's in play either, but who is in play for the San Antonio Spurs?
I think Jalen Duren, who we mentioned before from Memphis, is just a man-child. Long arms.
Perk loves those.
I mean, he can block shots, rebound, run the floor, good short roller. He's in play. If you're talking about a big guy, we mentioned Mark Williams from Duke, one of the best shot blockers and rim protectors, guy who's a great lob threat. So there are a number of different options they would have, and if you wanted to go with a wing, I would think that Johnny Davis of Wisconsin would be the wing you go with there. A.J. Griffin also still on the board from Duke, who's arguably the best shooter on the board.
Well, and one of the things that I've said, I'm going to sound like a broken record by the end of the night, but this is such an incredibly deep draft, Jay. On any other given year, some of these guys, they may be drafted even higher than what we're seeing now, correct?
Absolutely. I think in other drafts, but you're looking at a bunch of different guys that have different skill sets. Yeah. So if you're looking for a big guy or all that, I think now you can start talking about need, but I'd still go with the best available player, no matter who.
And you can see the best available players there. A.J. Griffin, Jalen Duren, Johnny Davis. There's so many, but we get to find out who it is. The pick is in. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver is here to tell us who it is.
With the 9th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Jeremy Sohan from Milton Keynes, England, and Baylor University.
What a wonderful moment for Jeremy Sohan and his family. Hey, Perk, would you dye your hair that color?
You know what? For the right price, I would. You know what I mean? I would. I mean, I'd try anything, to be honest with you.
Well, Sohan's backstory is unique. Both of his parents, they played Division II college basketball in Oklahoma, but he actually grew up in England. His late father, Ryan Williams, played professionally, and Sohan's mother, she has Polish citizenship, so that allowed him to play for the Polish national team. And then at Baylor, he was known for just that. He was known for his different, unique hair colors. He contemplated which one he was going with for the draft for a little bit, but I like the blonde that he ended up with. He's the second Baylor freshman drafted after Quincy Miller in 2012. I love this. I just love this, Jay. His mom's advice to him when he began to play, quote, be cheeky. How have we seen him be cheeky?
That's pretty good. My mom's advice was learn Italian. Jeremy Sohan is another one of these big sort of wings, 6'9". He's got a 7-foot wingspan and really versatile on both ends of the floor. He can guard 1 through 5, and he held his matchup to 25% shooting when he was guarding him. So he's got a great frame, a long reach, and he moves really smoothly laterally and obviously north-south. He's got active hands, gets steals, and really good off the ball as a cutter. And Scott Drew at Baylor used him as a point guard at times late in the season, but an active rebounder, averages about 9 rebounds per 36 minutes. Played on the Polish men's national team. Yep. His offense, he's still a little raw. He's got a ways to go, but Jeremy Sohan has a ton of potential.
Well, and you can see, excuse me, he's not headed to the Knicks. Spike Lee, what are we doing here? But the Knicks, they're coming up. Their pick is coming up shortly. And also in the next segment, Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga is going to be joining us on set. Stay tuned for that. We'll be right back.
A lot
of people assume NBA players can reach anything.
Just like they assume they can't afford great insurance. But State Farm has rates that fit any budget.
Here you go. Thanks, John Crow.
He's your master.
Thanks, Boban.
Need me to reach anything else?
No.
Because I can reach it.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
Verizon just gave us all a brand new iPhone 13.
We've been customers for years. I thought new phones were for new customers. We got iPhone 13s too, switched to Verizon 2 minutes ago.
Ours were busted, and we still got a shiny new one.
Check it out. So wait, everybody gets the same great deal.
I think that's the point.
Now everyone can get a new iPhone 13 on us on America's most reliable 5G network.
Can I have a phone?
For every customer, current, new, everyone. To show the love.
It's still the E-Press Refresh. The Subway's refreshing everything. Like the Baja Steak and Jack. Pile high with tender shaved steak, topped with delicious pepper jack cheese. They're kicking it up a notch with smoky
Baja Chipotle sauce?
Yep, they're constantly refreshing.
Y'all get your own commercial. Subway keeps refreshing.
There's a maniac who seeks to end us all. I'm putting together the greatest team ever. Called Valkyrie, the Guardians, and Jane, the old ex-girlfriend.
J.D. Foster.
Jane Foster. Thor, Love and Thunder. Pretty PG-13. Tickets on sale now.
You inspired the Lexus ES to be, well, more you. So thank you. We hope you like your work.
Are you the one others rally around? Inspire soldiers to follow your lead. See your vision clearly, get there decisively. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
The Edge Pizza from Pizza Hut is back, loaded with toppings all the way to the edge of a thin and crispy crust. I think I just blacked out and ate like 6 slices. Where am I? Am I in a Pizza Hut commercial? The Edge from Pizza Hut. No one outpizzas the Hut.
Good morning.
More treatment.
We're gonna try something different today.
Oh, so pretty.
Dogs bring out the good in us. Pedigree brings out the good in them.
We live here in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Been a Nets fan since the early 90s.
Being a Black-owned business, our children get to see there's more than one way to be successful. Maybe they can do it one day too.
Champion Black businesses as we share the NBA Finals stage together. There are some notable anniversaries that we need to take a look at here. James Worthy, 3-time NBA champion, 7-time All-Star. That was 1982. And then we have David Robinson, 10-time NBA All-Star. I was about to say Shaquille O'Neal, but this is the 1995 MVP. And let me just get out the way because he's a 2-time champion. And then it's Shaquille O'Neal, 4-time NBA champion. Just an easy 15-time All-Star who can also throw down and pull down the basket. Tim Duncan, 5-time NBA champion. He's a 2-time league MVP. One of the reasons that I fell in love with basketball. And then there's Yao Ming, 8-time All-Star. Take a look at what he can do. And then last, but certainly not least, let's get just a smidge more modern. It's Anthony Davis, 8-time All-Star, 2022 NBA champion with the Los Angeles Lakers. You can see it there. It was in the bubble. What a strange time with virtual fans that were actually in the building. Do you think you can pull down a backboard like that?
What kind of question is that?
All right, the answer is yes. All right, the pick is in. Let's get it to Commissioner Adam Silver. You said Nerf.
With the 10th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Johnny Davis from the University of Wisconsin.
Johnny Davis is headed to the Washington Wizards to team up with Bradley Beal and company. So Johnny Davis, he was a 3-star recruit out of high school, enters the NBA after just a remarkable season with the Badgers. He played with his twin brother, Jordan. Johnny was the Big Ten Player of the Year, and when I asked him to describe his game, he told me he's a versatile guard that can score at all 3 levels. He just loves to compete and wants to help his teammates win. That's exactly what you want to hear if you are an NBA team. Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, Jimmy Butler, that's who he patterns his game after. Jay, do you see any resemblances with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's accurate in his self-assessment there because he can score at all three levels, but he's especially effective in the mid-range. I think he's a complete player, but he's best when the lights really are brightest. Against top 25 opponents, Malik, he averaged 24 points a game, including 37 on the road at Purdue. He was fantastic at Indiana, had 25 at Michigan State. Wisconsin won on the road at all those places for the first time ever, largely because of Johnny Davis and how he performed under those bright lights. He's got really good defensive instincts. He makes really good reads on the defensive end to shoot the gap and get steals, and he rebounds his position. You know, he's not a knockdown three-point shooter, but he can get his own, and he's a really good wing scorer.
All right, Knicks fans, listen up. It is your time. The time is now. Oh, see, look, the fans are in the building. They are standing up. They are standing up in anticipation of who the New York Knicks are gonna pick, and somewhere Spike Lee is sweating.
They're gonna boo whoever it is anyway.
Please don't fumble the bag. We're gonna need security getting up.
All right, let's just take a look at how exactly we got here. One playoff series win in the last 22 seasons, and let me tell you, I was living in New York City at the time. The Garden was on fire when that happened. RJ Barrett, 20 points per game. That's a career high for him, so that's a bright spot for New York. Julius Randle, though, the former most improved player, 20 points per game, 24 points per game in the 2020-2021 season, so a little bit less productive there. Look, even the young fans, look, they're so young. They still have hope. They're excited. They are looking forward to the future. Bing bong. Do you get that reference, Jay? You get the bing bong reference.
I do.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
And I caught your modern thing before. Let's get more modern. Talking about David Robinson, we got to get modern.
I'm just saying for us out there, I'm just making sure that the youngsters who are like, well, but what about Anthony Davis? What happened before him? What happened before he existed? Big perk. The Knicks are on the clock. The Knicks fans are hanging on every word that we are about to hear. What do the Knicks need?
You know what? I feel like the Knicks need to add shooting. They need to add perimeter play. Look, you already have RJ Barrett, who I feel like is an up-and-coming star, but you need to add somebody that can knock down shots and a combo guy, a guard, in my opinion. You know, Kemba Walker didn't turn out to what they wanted him to be last season. I think you got to add some pieces there. Evan Fournier didn't have the best season for the Knicks. If you want to continue to build in the right direction, you got to add shooting.
Yeah, if you're adding shooting, you know, we've mentioned A.J. Griffin, who shot 46% from three. I would take a look at Malachi Branham from Ohio State if you want that kind of thing as well, because I think he's got a ton of upside. And another outstanding shooter is Ochai Agbaji from Kansas, national champion.
Happy Thursday night. Like, share, and subscribe. And enjoy the NBA Draft 2022.
Clearly the Knicks are on the clock because it just got a little bit louder in here.
You know what? I got tired of jinxing it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I jinxed my bigs. That's enough. I figure I'll go in another day.
Well, again, it's getting louder and louder in here because the Knicks are getting closer and closer to picking who is going to be in the Garden next season. You mentioned Kemba Walker. Obviously, the Knicks and Kemba Walker's camp decided that perhaps they weren't the best fit. Kemba Walker was just a consummate professional throughout the season, a locker room leader, but RJ Barrett seems to be the future of this team, Big Perk.
He is, and he keeps getting better. The things that we say he can't do, he comes out the next season and he proved us wrong. This season,
hang on to your butts. The pick is in. Who are the New York Knicks going to take? Let's find out from NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
New York to the heart.
With the 11th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Ousmane Dieng from Bordeaux, France.
Ousmane.
Knicks fans are never happy.
Tears and boos, but don't worry, young man. That is just how they do it here in New York. They ride with you until the wheels fall off. Let me tell you a little bit about Ousmane Dieng. He enters the league after playing at INSEP Academy in Paris. He's made a strong impression on pro evaluators with his move to the NBL's Next Stars program. He had to compete against much older, more experienced pros, show a level of perseverance with his New Zealand Breakers because they were forced to play an entire season, Jay Bill, Ellis on the road in Australia because of COVID. And interestingly, you know, we always talk about who these guys compare to in the NBA, what experience they have under their belt. He's trained with his idol, Clippers wing, Paul George, but I'm hearing that we may have some news here, so let's bring in our senior NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski.
Yeah, Malika,